Of my birth. After days and days thinking about how to start this story, that is the story of my life, I should do it as Charles Dickens did with his novel David Copperfield, of my birth. Why not? David Copperfield was no more and no less than me, and after all, we all started there. Of my birth, I can tell you that it took place in Madrid, the capital of Spain, on a hot night on June 13, to be precise. My mother did not have it easy when it came to bring me into this world. I had her in labor for 3 days, considering that at that time the epidural did not exist, and women endured the whole process by endurance. Maybe I wasn't sure about coming here, but for better or worse, for good or bad, in the end I poked my head into this valley of tears. My parents were expecting a girl, and their dreams came true. 4 kilos and 100 grams of encarna, which will be the name that will be imposed on me, but not by the wish of my mother, but by that of the Holy Church, which refused her permission to call me Desiree, like Napoleon's lover. My mother was told that either my name was Maria Deseada or not at all. So the poor thing took advantage of the family, and like my maternal grandmother and my aunt, another encarna was added to the list. Well, to be more exact and respectful to the church, Maria Encarnación. I was the apple of my father's eye, my paternal grandmother, and the whole family, and of course, my mother. But of course I ceased to be the apple of my father's eye from the moment I began to have my own opinion, and the moment he let his bad temper and alcohol possess him to the point of stopping talking to me and forgetting that he had a daughter lost in the world. His profession was music, and I say it was because he is already passed away. A good musician, one of the best of his time, but who thought he was above the others and sinned by not having diplomacy or patience. He did not know how to bury his ghosts and demons. He did not know how to acknowledge all the good things he had in life. His wife, who adored him, his children, friends, family. He put everything aside to ally himself with the bottle, which seemed to have cured him of all that and turned him into a monster he did not how to see. And that was destroying his life and the lives of those around him. My mother, a good woman who never knew how to say no to him, who was always in love with the man she hoped he would be one day, and never was. She left her career as an artist that began to shine when she met him, because he convinced her that she could not continue working, and she, dazzled by the love she felt, abandoned everything to be Mrs. Lopez. But well, that is part of the story of my parents, who, although they are my parents, I cannot enter or live it. For their story was written years before my brother, came into this world. Oh yes, my brother. He was born 2.5 years after me, and although I am his older sister, as we grew up, I always had the impression that it was the other way around. I don't know if it was because my height wasn't that of a model, and he grew up quickly, or because he was my refuge and my ally when my father's wrath rained down on both of us. My poor thing, how many blows did he receive for nonsense, for things that any other parent will have laughed about or will have dedicated himself to improving with a smile? The fact is that my brother and I knew how to give each other all the love that our father denied us, and I think that, thanks to that, we have been able to survive until today. And yes, I say survive, because our souls and minds have been marked forever. Although out of irony, or as a macabre joke, my father ended up not remembering anything and denying that he had mistreated us at all. I suppose the only thing left for us is to forgive him and bury all that. But the fact is that even if things are buried because they smell bad, there is always a tombstone and a cross to remember what is underground. Well, and back to my life. As far as I can remember, we lived in a charming house on 17th Ercilla Street in the Embajadores neighborhood in Madrid. I remember that house with great affection. It was not very big. In fact, today it will be an apartment. We lived on the top floor, the 7th floor, with an elevator that went up only to the 6th. But what we liked the most was the rooftop located in our hallway. There, my mother hung out the clothes, and we had a great time playing in the summer. The view was not the best in the world, as you can imagine. In a city like Madrid, rooftops, television antennas, and the imagination to think what there will be beyond all that. From the living room window, a large courtyard was shared by the houses on our street and the adjacent streets. I remember that we had two neighbors in the house across the street, two sisters who lived together, that my brother and I compared to the Gilda sisters. Yes, those from the TBO, a kid's comic. Because also like those two, one was chubby and the other thin. We both laughed a lot about it, imagining bizarre stories like the ones that happened to them in the comic. I guess at a time when we didn't have cable TV, 2 channels were the only thing you could choose from, or rather, where your parents could choose. No computers, no video games, and many kids not even electronic toys. Imagination doubled to pass the time and have fun. We shared the top floor with the caretakers of the building and a very polite and reserved lady who had a terrace full of flowers, including some we called bunnies, snapdragons, which you squeeze with your fingers and open and close. You see, another way to spend time in that era, which, if I have forgotten to mention, was the 60s and 70s. The caretakers were already an elderly couple from a village in Segovia, Arévalo, if I remember correctly, and they lived with their 2 sons, Fido and Argi. They also had a daughter, Delia, who was married to a man named Niso. They had a daughter named Mercedes, who was my best friend and playmate from my earliest childhood, although she was a couple of years older than me. Many times she will come to my house to play, and other times we will go to hers. Those people were like my grandparents back in Madrid. They always behaved very well with my mother and with all of us. I still remember when storms came. My mother has always been terribly afraid of that, and her refuge was to go to Mrs. Aurelia's house. Somehow, I guess she felt safer, and so did we, since our neighbor distracted us and made us laugh by saying that nothing was wrong, only that the little angels were bowling every time it thundered, or that God was moving the furniture around in heaven. That made us laugh and forget about the fear we might feel. I also recall that lady performing many other tasks that I didn't know until then. I could spend hours, for example, watching her make soap in an artisanal way with pork fat and other things that I don't remember now. I loved seeing how she took care of the birds she had, which I think were canaries. She and her husband, Mr. Mariano, or their children, taught us how they laid eggs and how new chicks were born. They told us which ones sang and which ones didn't.